Hello, this is Mesh from Downtime Distraction, bringing you a first look at this new title that's come out on the 22nd of December, and it is Lightrise. So this is developed by an indie company called the Bulkhead Studio Corporation. I'll just jump straight into the gameplay, and because I've pre-recorded the gameplay and I'm voicing over it because it's hard to get a match, and I'll go into that in the into the video. But before I go, I'll put the subscription button here, bottom left corner. If you could please subscribe, just trying to build my subscription base and it'll help me unlock a couple more indies going forward, and that would be great. Okay, so let us jump into some gameplay. Okay, so here we go. You can see I finally got a match here. Okay, let's so whilst it's playing, I'll just give you my positives and negatives. So let's start with positives. See middle left there, that is all your abilities. It's got a fantastic amount of different abilities. You have ranged attack, like an AoE attack that you can do. There's a couple of different AoE attacks you can do. Missile, like fire missiles, lightning missiles, and then you have lob. So like a molten, like this one here. So lob's a molten lava. This one here is like a steam one, I think. So all the steam comes up from the ground. And on top of that you have management of your health pots, stamina pots, mana pots. So top left hand corner you can see your map, and also your health, stamina and mana. So you always got to be mindful of those. You have abilities where you can use your mana to gain health. So you swap between them, so you can reduce one, kind of like a drain life or a life tap type of ability. You have ranged melee crossbows. You have melee attack, so you got double-handed weapon, single-handed weapon, and sword, and heals as well in there. There's a lot of abilities. And that in turn makes the fighting, the gameplay, really in depth. I played for a couple hours, and I didn't even scratch the surface of it. And there's guys that I played with here completely wasted me because they've played a lot longer, and also they've played other similar games, which is a very important point with this game. So they've come from probably Darkfall, so that's a very similar PvP only game, which is where this inspiration for this title comes from, I believe. So yeah, I guess the good thing about this is that everyone is on an equal playing ground. So you don't have talent trees, you don't have stores and stuff like that. So it's very even. You can never say, oh, he's purchased something and that's why he's beaten me. He's beaten you because he's outplayed you, or she's outplayed you. There is no excuse that you can have. So that, I really like that. It's a fantastic concept and fantastic way for a game to be, because of the amount of talents you have and amount of abilities you have. The skill level is very high. As I said, I played this for a few hours. I kind of got used to a couple of spells, but I couldn't even scratch these guys. I think I got one guy down to half health once. They were just in a complete other league. So that's really good to see. That would make you want to continue to play, just to be able to get onto their level to beat them. So it's very, very rewarding for those skill players. There's a lot of aiming as well, a lot of abilities you need to aim. You need to get used to the abilities that are a bit of a lob shot, and how it's going to go. And the crossbow is quite good. I've got some good crossbow playing a bit later, I believe. And so yeah, you really got to play smart to do well. So that's really, I guess, yeah, the gameplay abilities, I can't really fault them. I guess with saying that though, let's move on to the negatives that I had with this game. Whilst I say I can't fault them, if you're new to this game, it might be too much. It might be very intimidating to see all those abilities and expect to use it. And also, I guess because of how games have gone these days with pop-ups and any average player can do well, I think a lot of people will be put off this title because of that, which is sad to say, but I think it is the honest truth these days. What else? Negatives, the tutorial, whilst I thought it was good for what it was text based, and it showed you a couple of abilities and the basics of a lot of stuff, but it wasn't enough. I think if you got rid of the text based, made it interesting, so it doesn't feel like you're sitting there scrolling through text, that's always positive. But yeah, game is not new user friendly by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, if you released this 10-15 years ago, I wouldn't be saying that. I would just be saying this is just a game that's been released, and I wouldn't even mention about how it's not new user friendly. And as you can see as well, graphically, it is not an attractive game, and audio as well. Audio quality is lackluster. I did read from the web page this has come from that I guess they went in with the idea that this is a minimalist type of game. It's concentrating on the combat, and that's fine. I mean that was their goal, and they probably achieved that. But to me, the graphics, looking as they are, put me off a bit. I mean, I played Warband, Mountain Blade, and Chivalry. They're all average. I mean, Chivalry is different, but Warband and Mountain Blade series, they're average-looking games. I guess the combat felt really good, and the graphics were good enough at that point where you wouldn't. I mean, you'd notice, but now, 2015, I don't know if this graphics is acceptable. Very little lighting, very little shading, textures are pretty much terrible. So that's not necessarily a good point, but I mean that might not be the be all and end all for some people. It's not the be all and end all for me, but it's just something I found. But the biggest red flag for me currently is the actual community for this game. There isn't one. I jumped on multiple times. This was the busiest time I found, which was, I think, probably afternoon, evening in America, and I think there was 3 people, and that wasn't including myself. So, and that is 2 days after launch as well. So that to me is to be really wary of that. Whilst this game could be amazing, if you have no community playing it, you're in trouble. And what makes it even worse is that there is no single player, there's no campaign. So whilst some games, if the multiplayer is there, but there's no community yet, you can play the single player, get a couple hours out of that, maybe replay it and wait for people to start coming in or wait for a sale. But there is no single player, and there is no online community. So that to me is a real flaw, unfortunately. But I guess with these guys that I played with here, I had a bit of a chat with some of them, and they were mentioning that there's been Darkfall. I need to look into that game because I had a look at their website, and that game looks very interesting. But let's save that for another topic. But yeah, Darkfall has had a new update, or there's been a new version of it released, so a lot of people who used to play this in alpha have gone back to that. So whether or not they'll be returning, I don't know. But yeah, currently, with such limited numbers on the online community, no campaign, no single player, I'm going to have to say you probably want to avoid this for now. Maybe try and check back in with the community in a little while. Maybe the community will come to life after at some point. I don't know how. To me, it's real tricky. It's real sad too, because I said the combat the actual concept of this game I think is really good. I think to me it's Mountain Blade but with magic and more in depth. I love those Mountain Blade games and Chivalry. They're a lot of fun because it's, you know, even playing ground. It's not necessarily about the graphics, it's just fun gameplay, and that's what this has. But the problem with all those Mountain Blade and Warband is that they had a single player where you'd jump on the map and you could take over. I mean, a lot of it was just playing bots, but it was still something to do. Made you hone your skills for the multiplayer, and if the multiplayer wasn't happening, you could do that. This doesn't have that, so I'm sorry, I have to say that, yeah, keep an eye on it, see if the community grows. If it does, maybe pick it up in a sale. But for now, yeah, it's going to be tricky. I mean, the price tag, it's got 40% off right now, so it's not too bad, but I think it will be coming up to $15 in the States at a quick estimate. So that's, yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. I say, if you want to take the risk and you like the gameplay enough, maybe give it a go. But I have to raise that as a big red flag. Lack of single player, lack of campaign, which wouldn't be a problem if there was an online community, and there isn't. So yes, bear that in mind. And the only, I guess, another, whilst I was talking about the Mountain Blade Warband combat, the melee in this game doesn't feel as polished as those games. There was a nice weight to Warband, nice weight to, if you hit someone, it felt like it seemed like you hit them. With this, it does. I don't get that feeling. Maybe that's because the audio is a bit lackluster. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, yeah. So keep an eye on it. It may get better if the community comes alive, but I'm not comparing this to the Darkfall game, because I don't think we should do that. If you start, this review is looking at a new player to this game, not a returning player from other games, which I think you'd need a different review to look at that. If you're moving from one game to another, and this is in essence a sequel to another game, and then that's another topic, right? But for now, from a new player's perspective, I say probably miss this one, but maybe keep an eye on it. And yeah, okay, so I think I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I hope this has been valuable for you guys. Leave me some comments and feedback. If the community starts coming to life, maybe send me a message and I'll do another video on it, and I'll get back into it. But for now, I think I'll leave it here. So yeah, leave me comments, give me a like if you liked it, and subscribe would really help me out. And until next time, I'll see you later.